So Minecraft has been adding a few visual changes, such as a subtle fog. We have a bunch of video settings here that are pretty helpful. We even have a way to customize the F3 menu because that was getting ridiculous. Now it's kind of back to what it felt like in the old days, which is nice, very handy. I might remove that debug part a little bit. But the one thing that I wish they would change most is the rain. And now you can actually change the rain a little bit. You have a weather effect radius, and as you can see, I have it like turned all the way down. If I turn it back up, it's a bit overwhelming. But I feel like this, even at 3 blocks, it's still a little overwhelming. I think it's partially because the rain is just like a solid blue, but it also just feels really busy. Yeah, just Minecraft, if there was a way to make it less dense in general, I would be in your debt, thank you. Anyways, hello, welcome back to the world. So today I've ultimately decided to basically do a bunch of quote-unquote chores, more or less just trying to make the world easier for me to work in, because I've started quite a number of projects, and there's quite a number that I have never really fully finished, such as the storage for my slime farm. Now you can see that I have actually worked on it a bit here. So before, all it was these hoppers and these chests, and I basically had to climb down here every single time I wanted to empty out the chest because they were getting really full with slime. So I decided to add a little crafter system because, for reference, we didn't have crafters by the time I originally made this. I think it was in 1.19.4 or somewhere around there. And yeah, I decided to do kind of a signal limiting thing just so it's not constantly flashing. And eventually, the slime makes its way over to... You can see why I don't want to climb down there anymore. Eventually, it makes its way over to here. And now we have a nice, decent system that I can get to pretty easily. As you can see, I've collected quite a few chests here. I was mostly getting a bunch of stone when I dug out this area and that area over there. So we're essentially going to be trying to port all of the bulk stuff over to here, just like the stones, the andesites, the tufts, etc., etc. So yeah, this is going to be a while. Now, the reason I have not really worked on any item filters for the storage area yet is because I'm not particularly confident in my layout right now. I don't know, I just feel like I'm going to want to change it as soon as I get everything in there, because I'm not entirely sure how much of everything I have. Like, for example, diorite, I have zero clue on how much stuff I have of this. Probably a good bit, don't get me wrong, but it's just items like that where I don't know if I'm going to need to expand it immediately, or if I'm going to need an entirely different room for it, which I'm hoping to avoid. I don't want to make more storage. I would like to have it at least somewhat centralized. I wouldn't mind having some separate areas that are more categorized, I suppose. But I would like to have at least the majority of the stuff here, like the bulk items and stones and woods, just like the most common items that I would need. Yeah, I ship it. I'm pretty glad that I ended up waiting to do any of the redstone behind this place, because as I started to realize what I wanted to do with this place and I started putting more stuff in, I started to get a clear idea of how I want to do the redstone, what kind of concepts I want to go for. And I'm not going to go too much into it because I feel like this storage room could be its own video, let's be honest, because this is a pretty large project, and what I have planned for this place is, I wouldn't say complicated, but it does have a lot of steps to it. I'm just glad that that's over with. I actually also have a chest over here that I'm planning to build up over just the coming weeks just to see what kind of items I want to prioritize that isn't already labeled here. So I think this build is going to be a pretty slow burn until I really start to get into the redstone bits. I also took the time to just empty some chests, condense things down. There was another large chest here. There were like 2 large chests here. The biggest difference you can see is actually down in the base here. You can see that I only have like 3 double chests now. There was probably, what, like 9? Something like that? So yeah, I'm pretty happy about that. So next up on the list, we have Ice Boat Road and Nether. Yeah, that's... I don't need it too much right this second, but I'm definitely going to need it in the future pretty soon here. Especially if I want to go to the Deep Dark again, because that is a pretty good ways off. But first, I need to find a place that I can farm some ice. Thankfully, I've kept my ice biome documented right here, so yeah, we're gonna start heading towards there. Where is that exactly? I almost forgot to get the blocks for the ice farm itself, and I think I'm gonna go with bamboo blocks because I have a lot of it. I can kind of keep it stored up like this, and then I can double it out when I get there. And also, while I'm mining ice, I don't want to accidentally mine the blocks as well. So having a block that requires an axe to mine, or at least mine fast, will be preferable. Okay, so I was thinking initially of going up and, you know, into the sky and doing that whole thing, but I mean, if ice spawns right here, I don't see why not. So for those who don't know, water actually freezes faster when it's close to a solid block. So by the stairs here are for the full blocks of water so that it can go all the way down. And this is for, you know, just the general freezing process. Actually, before I finish this off, I'm actually going to make both sides have stairs here, because I remember sometimes I would kind of do a zigzag motion and I would kind of do it the wrong way, which would cause like the water down here to freeze, or like cause water up there to freeze before I had the chance to fill in back here. So I think doing it from both sides is probably a smarter option. I'm gonna be frank, I kind of enjoy these more grindy projects because then I just get to watch YouTube videos or just think of future projects, listen to music, yada yada yada. It's a very chill way to spend my time off of work. And it's not that I don't like doing like more complicated or dense projects, it's just doing this every now and again is nice. So I got tired of flying back and forth, so I decided to do a little bit of the Nether road early, just so I can connect this to the ice portal. I'll probably do one to the desert, and probably to spawn, and then maybe to a warm ocean if I can find it. Oh, and also to the Deep Dark, that I am gonna need for future projects. So an issue that I've been running into is that as I'm mining ice, I keep running out of storage in my inventory, especially if I happen to have other items in there, if I'm happening to do work on something in this area. So what I'm thinking of doing is just having a waterway that surrounds the entire place that eventually leads to chests that will just be kind of by the portal. So yeah, I'm slowly figuring that out. I'm trying to make it as generous for me as possible, so I just kind of toss it out anywhere and they'll go. Okay, in theory, this should work. It's probably going to outpace me, but that's fine. Okay, they got through the tough bit. And should get shot up. And there we go. Nice. Yeah, this already flows a lot better. All I gotta do is just toss it out, move on to the next lane. So the only limiting factor now is just my pickaxe durability. So we're going to abuse mending, and I'm going to make a mob farm. That just seems to be the easiest and quickest and probably one of the more convenient options to go with. I'm probably going to have a bubble vader going up into this and an easy drop, just so like basically the plan is I do a run, I toss it out and goes into those chests, and when I'm done with the run, I finish off by going up here real quick and taking a few swipes, and then I continue just going along, just keeping that flow, you know? Okay, I have got this up and running, and yeah, it's not the fastest farm in the world, but if I do this regularly and I don't run this pickaxe until it's like almost dead, it should go okay at least. Like do 2 turns of the swipes and then get back to it. I think it will be fairly sustainable. So I think for now, this area is basically done. We can check that off the list. Oh, right. I wasn't even... This wasn't... I was just doing this to get an ice boat road in the Nether. This is actually comparatively much easier. Okay, I have a basic road to the ice and to the desert, and now I'm gonna see where spawn is. I haven't been there ever since I started this channel. The main reason I want to get a path over to there is basically just in case I happen to misplace my bed or something and I die, and I don't want to travel all that way by foot. Okay, I am seeing a lot of mesa. We're probably getting close-ish. Ah, yes, I remember I started on this hillside, and then where did I go from here? Oh yeah, I mined around here a little bit. I remember that emerald block, and this little ravine, I gave a little bit of advice on looking up, and then I went off that way. Boop. Maybe. Aha! Almost forgot about the ancient city. Man, this was a long flight. It's about like 7,000 blocks out. I don't know how I found this place. Pure luck, I guess. Ooh. Oh, this is a little too close. Link that up in the Nether, and I think we'll be okay. Oh, this works. It's pretty deep in the world, so if I end up in a random cave... Oh, it worked. I know this is going to be worth it when I'm finished, but this takes so long and is so precarious. Found some netherite while doing this. Plus, I suppose. I wasn't expecting it. So OBS did a little bit of an oopsie and kind of just showed a frozen screen when I was recording most of this process, and I didn't realize until much later. So that's interesting, and I don't have a boat. Let me show this off first. So to go to the desert, you can lean to the right and you can actually get stopped by this little contraption here. This is a simplified version of the boat stopper I made for Nations and Nobles Season 1, where it's just a fence gate surrounded by 4 pressure plates, and you just lean to one side and it'll stop you if you are up to enough speed, which usually you will be. Yeah, so you can just make a nice easy turn for the desert here. This is where I get most of my sand, and this place will probably be demolished within the year, but that's fine. Oh wait, no, this is spawn. I confused my directions. Going down the other side, we will be going to the ancient city that we found quite a while ago. And along this path, I actually ended up finding a Nether fortress, which conveniently is actually right at the turning point for when we go into the ancient city. This path always takes longer than I think it would. Yeah, it took me a while to find an ancient city. I just kind of looked for mountains and dug down, and not all the mountains had one. So, yay. I don't want to do that again. But I probably will if I want to get like a bunch of not shulkers, whatever they're called. But yeah, I do kind of I'm debating on whether or not I want to make a weather skeleton farm here, because on one hand it's a very convenient place to be because it's right along my little boat path already. But it's also kind of an issue because the majority of the biomes around this place are very easy to spawn on. So we have a lot of magma cubes, a lot of zombie piglins, probably some hoglins in there as well. We'd have to slab a lot of this over for a solid weather skeleton farm. Because, yeah, beacons are most definitely something that I'm going to need, because, I mean, have you seen my base? It's all underground. I need to mine all of that. And I just like to have speed and what have you, because it's also decently big. But I will just leave that for another day. For now, I kind of want to get to the Prismarine farm. I've kind of left it unfinished for a while. Yeah, this is the Guardian farm I made quite a while ago. It has a little sea serpent design around it. I don't think there's anything I can do with the scaffolding stepping into its neck. So I believe I paused the project for two main reasons. A, I didn't know what to make, like what color block to make the brim of the hourglass, so I just kept it as stone. And also, that little ink sac collector right there used allays. They're not here right now, but the allays tended to wander off, so I just turned it off and never tried it again. And honestly, I think if I just have more of these stations around, I think they would probably wander off less. Well, more accurately, they would wander off, but they'd still have a station to go to. So I think for the... I don't know what it's actually called, the cap of the hourglass. I think I'm going to make that dark prismarine, so I think I'm going to use some of the ink sacs that I already have collected in here, and I will go ahead and craft those up real quick. Ooh, I have like some ink sacs and a lot of warp stem here. Yeah, I have this terrible tendency to accidentally leave materials around. Oh my goodness, that's a lot of acacia logs. Something I could do is mix in a bit of the warped wood into it as well if I'm feeling particularly fancy. But I should probably AFK this farm to get a bit more of the prismarine materials first, because I just crafted a bunch of it into some of the blocks to make up more space. Yeah, I only went up there for a second, and look how many ink sacs come up. That's quite a few. Yeah, like, I could definitely see... Oh my goodness, yeah, it goes all the way to over here. Yeah, I could definitely see allays getting a bit lost, so I gotta keep that range in mind. So what's the furthest one? It's like here. There ain't no convenience without some pain, I suppose. I don't like... I think I realized why I stopped working around here. Okay, so if I get like a square of these, like 8 in total surrounding the place, I think I should theoretically be able to have allays not get lost. We'll have to see though. Okay, after a lot of finagling and pain from the Guardians, I hate working with Guardians so much. But I managed to get the base done and the top done. I decided to leave a space between the scaffolding and the blocks here just in case, and I also put in some glow lichen just so mobs don't spawn here, because that could mess with raids, and I don't want this top to explode, obviously. And yeah, I think all that's left to do now is to just make more English is hard. Just spent my last bit of iron on these hoppers. I hope it's enough. I need to go mining to replenish my iron supply. No, I don't have enough. I don't want to go iron mining, but I must. Honestly, it's something that I should have probably put on the list anyways. You know what? I'm gonna put it on the list just so I have something else to check off. Okay, I got some iron. I ran out of torches, and I used torches to help me directionally so I can get back. And I ran out of those, so I stopped mining, but I got enough iron to get what's probably enough hoppers. So I guess the only point of possible failure now is whether the allays are going to want to cooperate. And I don't have a good history with those. I mean, they're hanging around, but I guess the real test will be when the ink sacks start coming in. Alright, let's AFK and see if it works. Alright, time to see if the allays abandoned us for the high seas. I don't see them. I don't see them. Oh, they're both here. Can you guys bugger off? Why did I vote you into the game? I mean, they're doing well. That wasn't that long. I was only AFK for like 10 minutes. I was not exactly excited by the idea of having a dedicated squid farm. Partially because you need to like empty out an entire river and whatnot, and I realistically don't need that much black dye. So I'm glad that this worked out. Whoa, that's a weird effect. Can you hear him from up here? No, not all the way up, but like... That's so weird. So we were able to clean up the house island while we were at it. I kind of simmered down on the cows because it was kind of becoming a bit of an eyesore to just see them all crammed together. I'm keeping some of the sheep here because I do want to make a wool farm at some point, though we'll see when that happens. I cleared out the wheat, I bone mealed in a couple spots, and the major part is just this area. This was just completely filled with sand with random spots of dirt where I would grow trees on. And so I cleared out the trees, cleared out the sand, replaced it with grass, put some bone meal around the place. And I mean, it doesn't really help me practically, but it does make me feel a lot better. After that, I continued on to get a bunch of iron because, yeah, I've been struggling with iron for a while now. So, yep, mined all of this up over the course of a day. And, I mean, it's not a amazing amount, but it'll at least keep me going for a while. I might mine some more later down the road because, I mean, it's just a easy pastime. I just get to watch videos while mining. It's very casual. But with some of that iron, I did get more than what I showed there. But with some of that iron, I made a little redstone shulker. Yeah, I got a bit, what's the word, spoiled. So the story behind this is that Ori for Christmas gave me a little redstone box. And yeah, ever since then, I've been kind of spoiled on just having redstone stuff on hand. So I wanted to replicate that over to here. There are some things that I changed, such as taking out elements that I either don't have a lot of yet or just don't use that often. I do want to get some sculk sensors and whatnot in here at some point, but for now, I put some of the slots as just crafting materials that I will use to make pistons, comparators, and whatnot, and those will slowly over time be taken over by the sculk stuff. But the rest of this is stuff that I use fairly often. The composters are here just for low signal comparator stuff. It can be a pretty handy replacement for redstone blocks with, you know, pistons, just so you don't accidentally power a piston infinitely, etc., etc. And the signs are here mostly just so if I'm making a waterway, I can just, you know, cut that water off. It's not a lot of signs, but it'll do the job, I think. I'll see about putting more in here as time goes on. One last thing, I decided to color code some of the signs around the middle of the base here. I was kind of getting topsy-turvied around every single time I wanted to get somewhere, so I wanted to color code it a bit just so I didn't keep getting lost. Speaking of which, I should probably do the comment of the day. Though, real quick, I need to add another section. Today's comment of the day is from Nuremberg Angel, or Kristen. It's a wild van. Hope all's well, my friend. Yeah, so I did take quite a break, didn't I? It was like a good 6 months or something. Long story short, I ended up moving, and I mean, the move itself was quite short, in fact, very rushed, more rushed than I would have liked, but I ended up being very emotionally exhausted from that. And also, sometimes when I move into a new environment, I have a hard time being creative, or my creativity shifts and is very sporadic during that time. For this time, it was me making some music. I did make 2 songs. One, I would say, is near completion. One needs a lot more work. Maybe I'll paste like part of a song here. But yeah, sometimes my creativity is kind of hard to harness when I'm in that headspace. And when I started working in this world again, I realized it was in kind of a mess, which did not help at all. So, because not only was my brain a mess, my life a bit of a mess, but also my working area here was a bit of a mess. So I figured I would just spend the next couple of weeks just trying to clean everything up, not only in my life, but also this world. And I'm still dealing with a bit of the echoes from that. And spoiler warning, I'm probably going to be moving again halfway through this year. Yeah, so I'm gonna have to deal with that. I gotta deal with taxes. Yeah, busy. But yeah, since everything was a mess, I just decided that this episode I was just gonna work on cleaning everything up. And I don't know if uploads are going to be as consistent as they were back then. There's a very real possibility that throughout this year, it might still take a while for me to upload, and I apologize for that, but I'm not gonna force myself to rush out a video just because of, you know, some quota. So yeah, I hope you guys can understand. I apologize, but yeah, without further ado, I shall put this book away. But yeah, thank you all so much for watching. I really appreciate you just sticking around while I deal with life. But yeah, see you around.